Alright, so the M13B has been incredibly difficult to unlock, as previously you could only earn it by completing a DMZ challenge, which involved killing the Chemist, but now it's just been made so much easier to unlock. So anyone who's been struggling to unlock it and wants this weapon, this is the video for you, as I'm going to show you how to get it incredibly fast. It's much easier, and also the M13B is a really solid meta weapon in the game right now, so you're definitely going to want to get your hands on it if you haven't already. So this guide is the new fastest way to unlock the M13B assault rifle in Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone Season 4. Very quickly, if you find this helpful, make sure you leave a like and check out my other Season 4 guides like leveling up weapons for when you unlock the M13B if you want to level it up and get attachments, and subscribe for more useful Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone videos. There will be timestamps in the description, but without further ado, let's get straight into the guide. So there's several different ways to get this M13B weapon now, and so let's talk about the fastest new way to earn this weapon in the game. So in Season 4, the DMZ faction mission challenges have been reset and the order's been jumbled up, and some new challenges have been added in. Now one of these new DMZ challenges is Mission 5 of the Crown faction, and this mission is known as Chemist's Whereabouts. Specifically, the challenge says you need to tag 3 enemies in the Mazrah radiation with a recon drone, and if you complete that challenge by tagging those 3 enemies, your reward will be 5000 XP and an M13B blueprint as a contraband weapon. Now, just as a side note, I believe the Crown faction mission is only available to those who own Modern Warfare 2, the full game. So if you don't have MW2 and you only have Warzone, I believe you can't get this Crown faction mission challenge, and therefore you'll want to check out the second strategy later on in this video. It's a little bit more difficult, but still easy with my tips, so check that out if you are Warzone only. But if you want to complete it easily with this Chemist Whereabouts faction mission, here's how you're going to do it. It's not just as straightforward as doing the challenge, so do listen in. So the first thing you want to do, obviously, to complete this mission, we need to tag 3 enemies inside the radiation zone. So what we want to do is, in our class, we want to put on the recon drone field upgrade, as this saves having to find one around the map. You then want to spawn into DMZ on Mazrah and head over to the radiation zone, which is the yellow circle on the map with a pink radioactive symbol, and you ideally want to head over there in a vehicle. Once you're actually near the zone, you want to try to get close to a group of 3 or more enemies without alerting them, and get yourself to somewhere safe, such as on a rooftop or prone behind cover, something like that, so you're kind of able to be near them but not super near they can see and find you and kill you, otherwise that won't be good. Once you're somewhere safe, you then want to press L1 and L2 on PlayStation or LB and RB on Xbox to activate your field upgrade and start flying the recon drone towards the enemies. They will first appear with a basic red diamond or a white dash lined diamond over them, I think, if they're behind cover, but you want to head towards them, look at them, you need to be close enough distance, so if it says target out of range you need to get closer, and then you need to hover over the enemy to flag up the enemy as a target with a red outlined diamond. Doing this 3 times will tag 3 enemies, and therefore you have completed the challenge. So tag 3 enemies with the recon drone, and that's it. Now if the recon drone says target out of range, try to get closer to the enemy from outside the circle, with the recon drone, or actually you might have to physically get closer because you can't be too far away from the drone. So if that's the case, you might have to find and pick up a gas mask to go into the circle, but you should likely be able to find at least 3+ enemies outside the radiation zone quite easily. Obviously, if the worst comes to the worst, you can just start firing your weapon. That might alert some enemies and they might come towards you. So there are multiple ways, but it should be fairly easy to get those enemies close to you. Now, if your recon drone runs out before you target all 3, you can either find another recon drone on the map, which isn't too hard, just need to look in a few loot boxes, or you can start a new match. It's up to you. So once you've completed that challenge though, once you've tagged those 3 enemies within the radiation zone, doesn't have to be all in one go. Once you've completed that Chemist Whereabouts challenge, you'll now have unlocked the M13B blueprint. So it's not as straightforward as that, you're not done yet. So now all you have to do is end that match, and then you'll have been gifted the blueprint. So you now want to equip that M13B blueprint as a contraband weapon, and obviously because it is a contraband weapon, if you lose it in DMZ, you will lose the weapon altogether. So be careful, you've only got 1 shot at this. And then what you want to do is just spawn into another DMZ match with this M13B blueprint and head to the nearest exfil point straight away, ideally by vehicle without engaging in enemy fire. So you want to try and head straight there if you can, and at the exfil point you want to run into the green smoke cloud and hold square X to call in the helicopter to leave the map, then run behind cover like a rock or a crate, or get into your vehicle and wait until the helicopter lands, then run straight into the helicopter to exfil. And once you exfil successfully with that weapon, you now permanently have earned the M13B base weapon, not just that contraband weapon. You've actually got the base weapon unlocked now, and you've fully unlocked the M13B. So it's really simple. Do that challenge, get the contraband weapon, quickly spawn into GMC with it, and then exfil, and then you'll have the weapon done. Easy peasy, and a much easier way than having to go and find the Chemist and kill him. Now if you want to unlock the base weapon but you don't have access to the Crown mission in DMZ, there are actually 2 other ways to unlock the M13B in Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone, and we'll talk about those now. So the first one is a very easy method. You guys will probably all know it. It's kind of similar to what we just mentioned, but what you want to do is get a teammate to drop it for you in DMZ. So if you have any teammates who have already unlocked it, such as through this Crown mission challenge or because they've already unlocked it, then get them to spawn in with the M13B weapon, get them to drop it on the floor, pick it up, head to the exfil point and do the same as what we just did before. As long as you exfil, you'll, have the weapon. But it is more difficult as it requires getting another person to load into a match and drop it for you. But if you leave a comment below this video, I'm sure there'll be other people who can drop the weapon for you, or who might be able to team up with you to earn it more quickly. So that's the first other method. The second other method is to complete the challenge in DMZ for actually unlocking this weapon. And the challenge says, unlock this weapon by defeating the chemist in the radiation zone of DMZ and extracting his dropped weapon. So this is the challenge that people have been facing a lot of trouble with, because you've got to actually go and find and kill the chemist, get his weapon within the radiation zone, and then exfil. So it's quite a lot, but we'll talk about how to do it easily, and there are some new tips I've got for you compared to last time. So here is my updated strategy. So first things first, for your class setup, you're going to want to put on a weapon in your insured slot, ideally a sniper, but it can be an assault rifle or an LMG. LMG is probably quite good if you can't get a sniper. And whatever you want to put on, just make sure you put on a suppressor attachment, because basically it's ideal because it avoids alerting enemies to your presence as easily. So you're a bit more hidden and therefore you're less likely to die. For the equipment, you're going to want to put on a stim for the tactical, but you could also put on a spotter scope, but I think probably stim's better. And then for the lethal, you can put on a Semtex or a thermite grenade. For the field upgrade, you want to put on the munitions box just so you can resupply ammo when you need. And once you've done that, you actually want to go into the game and set up to get the gear you need. We'll talk about that now. So you want to do a setup first, and then you can actually go for the challenge. Now, you can find all the items you need in the same game as doing the challenge if you want, or what I'd recommend is starting a game before you start to do the challenge. So that game beforehand can be used to get all the stuff you need, and then you exfil with all that stuff and have it ready for the game for when you actually try and go for the challenge. That's probably easier in my opinion, because it will take a while to get the stuff, but regardless, however you do it, we'll talk about how to get the stuff as easily as possible and what you actually need. So the things you'll need to do this mission well, you don't desperately need everything, but it is useful to have it, and you're more likely to survive and do well with these things. So obviously you need money, which you can get from AI kills, searching buildings for loot, doing contracts, that kind of thing. You also would ideally want a 2 or 3 plate armor vest, preferably one as well with a built-in, perk like UAV or whatever it might be. A medium or large backpack if you can get one, as well as some armor plates, enough ammo, 2 good weapons, extra stims if you come across them. So for example, dead enemy AI, or in medicine cupboards in bathrooms, or first aid kits in bathrooms and public buildings. You might also want to get a self-revive kit or a revive pistol. These are really useful, so definitely try and get these if you can, at least 1 or 2. And then some radiation blocker and or gas masks. Obviously you might need a few just because you'll be in the radiation for a while, and you will be able to pick up gas masks from other enemies, but it is a bit more difficult, so it's good to have a few as a backup, because obviously being in the radiation you will take some damage quite easily. So most of these items can be found from looting or bought from the buy stations with cash, or crafted by bartering at the store, basically by trading for other items. So for example, the revive pistol can be obtained by trading it for a bandage and a soothing hand cream. Previously this could just be traded in the store, but now you have to actually do a challenge to unlock these things. So if you have them, great. If you can't barter, either find them or buy them, it's up to you. So for the gas mask, ideally you want to find one from a dead enemy AI player or in a loot chest. You could also get into a quick setup game beforehand, like I mentioned, find or buy a gas mask and exfil so you have one. You could also buy at least 1 gas mask. They're only $2,000, so they're not super expensive, so you can get a few if you need. And alternatively, you can find one on enemies within the radiation zone, but obviously that is a bit more tricky, and you want to have a few backup before you get into the radiation zone, so you've got time if you need and you're not rushing to get more gas masks. In DMZ we now also have durable gas masks which actually last longer, so try and get your hands on some of those if you can. That's the equipment we need. It can be kind of difficult to find it, and I'm saying, oh, go and find this, go and find that, and you're kind of probably wondering, where do I actually find all this stuff? Certain medical things you can find from medicine cabinets, gas stations and hospitals, but I think a lot of this stuff is actually much easier to find by doing contracts, and the contracts you want to do are as follows. So the first one you could do is the secure supplies contract, which basically highlights 3 loot boxes for you to find and open around the map. And the second one is the raid weapon stash contract, where you capture a stronghold and you basically raid a weapon stash, so you drill it to open it, you clear all the enemies in the building and then defend the building from a wave of incoming enemies while you're drilling open that weapon stash. This is obviously more difficult, so while both contracts give you good rewards like larger backpacks, armor vests, gas masks or durable gas masks, self-revive kits or revive pistols, all of that stuff, it was really easy to find in both of those contracts. Like straight away you will get a lot of good stuff. But what I would say is that secure supplies contracts are much easier and less risky, so do try doing a few of those first. Likely you'll probably only need 1 or 2 of those to get everything you need, and if you still can't find that, either go for another secure supplies contract, or you can do a raid weapon stash contract, which is a little bit more difficult because you have to go into stronghold and then defend yourself from a wave of enemies, but obviously the higher the risk, the higher the reward. So both of these will get you a lot of good stuff. It will get you your backpacks, armor vests, all that stuff you need, self-revive kits, gas masks, all of that really important stuff. You can get it really easily from these contracts, so I highly recommend doing a few secure supplies supplies contracts if you can. It will save you a lot of time and it will earn you money in the process so you can buy things if you need. Now once you've done all that, you then want to find a suitable vehicle either in the same game or in the next game to travel over to the radiation zone, which is obviously that yellow circle on the map with the pink radioactive symbol like we said, and you ideally want to play with teammates that will help you or that you can communicate with, but solo is obviously possible. I'm sure a lot of you are playing solo, and if so, that's absolutely fine. We'll talk about how to get it. So that's the setup. That's really important. If you don't set up properly, you're much more likely to die. Once you've done that, we now want to actually talk about how to get and earn this M13B weapon by doing this challenge in the radioactive zone. So either in the same game or in the next game, once you've got everything, head over to the radioactive zone and find a good vantage point. You want to start taking out enemies one by one near the edge of the radioactive zone, and ideally you want to use a weapon with a silencer so other enemies are less likely to know that you're there or to alert other enemies. Stepping into this zone will cause you to quickly take radiation damage and die, so if you need a gas mask still, try to lure an enemy towards the edge of the zone and kill them. You can then obviously quickly dip in, get the gas mask from within the radioactive field, because most enemies will drop one if they're in the zone, because obviously they need one for themselves. So if you kill them, they'll drop them. And then once you have a gas mask or radiation blocker, or hopefully if you've set up correctly, you already had some beforehand, you can then pick off enemies visible and then head further into the radioactive zone. If the chemist has not been killed by other enemy players and he's around, a banner will pop up saying the chemist is close by, and therefore you know you have to find and kill him. Now you'll come across lots of other enemy AI too, so try to take them out slowly, keep picking up enemy gas masks so you don't run out and die, push slowly, take cover frequently, reload when sensible, and try to find the chemist. Now the chemist is an enemy in a bright yellow hazmat suit, so he should be really obvious to see. Often once the chemist is alerted to your presence, he'll try and come towards you with a group of enemies, and the chemist has extra health, so make sure you have lethal equipment and plenty of ammo, or alternatively you can shoot the chemist from far away with a sniper. A couple of bullets to the head should kill him, or if you've got a good thing like an LMG, that will be good as well. But if you still cannot see the chemist, or you're not told he's nearby, keep searching around the whole zone, and if you still can't find him, it's likely he's actually been already killed by another enemy player. But if you are lucky enough to come across him and you find him and kill him, you'll be told by the voice announcer he is down. So then what you want to do is go up to him, look for his weapon. It should be a bright yellow M13B variant, and once you pick up this weapon, you want to get back into your vehicle, head straight for the exfil point, as you need to get there as soon as possible without dying, otherwise you'll lose the weapon and you'll have to start this process all over again. Now what you want to do is drive back to the exfil point, and like we said before, run into the green smoke cloud, hold square X to call in the helicopter to leave the map, then run behind cover, so for example a rock or a crate, or get into the vehicle and wait until a helicopter lands, then run straight into the helicopter to exfil, and if you do that successfully, you'll now have earned the M13B weapon, so well done. And once you unlock it, you'll want to level it up, make a good class, so check out my Season 4 Weapon XP guide via the card on screen or link in the description if you need help with that. It can be difficult to lock this weapon, but with any of these methods, it is a lot easier. So hopefully my tips are helpful. Make sure you go out there and get the weapon if you need it. If you found this useful, be sure to leave a like, and feel free to subscribe by clicking the bell icon to stay up to date with all my latest Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone videos. But thank you so much for watching, hope you found it useful, and I'll see you guys all on the next one.